Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to some of our participants joining from the United States. I know it's early morning, just the start of a working day. Welcome to everyone, and thank you very much for joining. It's great to see so many faces. Most of you know by now, because you've attended many of our webinars. Those of you that are attending for the first time, you will see that you are currently on forced mute. That's really just to give the speaker the opportunity to present uninterrupted. We will give an opportunity towards the end of the session for you to participate in a live question and answer session. So if you do have a pressing question, you're welcome. Towards the end, you will have the opportunity to unmute yourself and then you can ask the question. In the meantime, also feel free to pop your question into the chat. I will collate the questions and then present some of your questions to Peter towards the end of the webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think Peter needs any introduction. For those of you that are joining for the first time, welcome, and maybe just a short introduction. Peter de Villiers is the author and functional developer of the Shadowmatch system. Peter still currently holds the role as Head of Research and Development at Shadowmatch. Peter authored several books, and the latest micro ebook that most of you would have received when you booked for your webinar is the book on the topic Work From Home. Peter did a lot of research on this topic, work from home, because it's such a hot topic at the moment due to COVID-19 and the pandemic. Most of us are working from home. And he did a lot of research, and this afternoon promises to be very insightful, specifically learning about the psychology that this work from home has on an individual, a family, a business owner, employees, employers, and the list just goes on. So without any further ado, Peter, thank you very much. We are looking forward to the next hour, and I'm sure we will all learn a lot. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Lizette. Good afternoon and good morning to everybody all around the world. Good evening to those in other places. Welcome to this webinar. I hope and I trust that this information will be meaningful. Obviously, that's the outcome that we want. We want meaningful information so that it can support us to deal and to position ourselves in this new world. That seems to be a new world that will be with us for quite a while. I've just been reading this morning around the research in the United States, in South Africa. South Africa has already started testing. The University of Witwatersrand, in collaboration with Oxford University, started to test the vaccine. It's a long process. They have a breakthrough. It seems to be a breakthrough in Russia and in Israel, not with a vaccine, but with a treatment. But that is minimum 1 year away. And for that year, we will be in stress and we will be in a very uncomfortable situation of dealing with this virus, because it's quite a serious virus. So this situation will be with us for at least the next year to 18 months, and then we will start to return to the normal as before. In the meantime, we must find our way, and the role of the Shadowmatch team is obviously to help people to optimize their success, and from there our slogan, success for all. I'm going to share my screen and then we go through the information from there on. While I do this, while I'm sharing the screen, I just want to mention that you can obviously, as Lizette said, you can pop your questions in the chat box, and when we are done, Lizette and Suzanne will then give me the questions. They will present the questions and I will then try to deal with the questions as best as I can. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the statement work from home is actually a classic, what they call in Latin a contradictio in terminus. It's like an independent colony or a square circle, or reverse a bit forward, please. These two ideas of work and home for the last about 200 years are two separate concepts. Long ago, 300, 400, 1,000 years ago, the workplace and the living space was a bit closer to each other, but it was not one space. So for thousands of years, we can, with a high level of comfort, say that for thousands of years, we have been coded and programmed that a workplace and a home, a living space, is not the same place. It's not the same space. And therefore, when we talk about work from home, we actually talk about two things that stand not really against each other, but they do not stand side by side, or they do not overlay that much. It's actually two separate spaces. And I want to show you what the differences are. And in doing so, what I want you to do is obviously make notes. And at the end, I will have an invitation for another session where we can discuss this, but obviously there will only be limited seats. So let's have a look at the first thing. I've developed a model about relationships, and I refer to this as our relationship frames. Now, I wrote a book, Shadow Match Success for All. This book is available on our website, the Shadow Match Business Information website, www.shadowmatch.com. It's available as a free download, and page 40 to 60 deals with this model that I have developed to help people in understanding their relationships best. We live in 4 relationship frames, and all our relationships either sit in one of these frames or in a combination of these frames, or they sit in more than 2, or sometimes even in all 4 of the frames. Let's have a quick look. I'll take a quick overview and give you the core points and as they relate to each of the relationship frames. The first one that we live in is a love relationship. Now, there are 3 things in love relationships that we need to understand. The first is it's an unconditional relationship. So I don't love my child because my child is beautiful or because my child is intelligent or whatever. I love my child because I love my child. So it's an unconditional relationship. The second one is it doesn't expect something back. So love, but in its true form, love is it's a one-direction relationship. So I don't love my child because my child loves me. That becomes a different, we'll chat about that one a little bit later, but it's a one-directional relationship. So I love somebody, even if that somebody doesn't really return the love. It's not a conditional thing. It's a one-directional thing. And then the third one is the interest of the beloved carries more weight than the interest of the lover in the life of the lover. So these are the 3 points. I'm not going to repeat them. You will be able to watch the video again afterwards when we send it to you. So these are the 3 core points. And because of time, let's have a look at the second relationship that we live in. This is the relationship of friendship. Friendship has a few basic and critical components to it. One, it's built on the position of shared interest. We are both interested in collector's watches, or we are both interested in fishing, or we are interested in cycling. We share a common interest. The second driver of a friendship relationship is that we have activities that we share. If we do not have shared activities, the relationship is at risk to collapse and to die down. And interestingly enough, guys and girls, is that there's a critical distance in friendships. If our friends are beyond 30 minutes of traveling from us, the relationship is at risk. Obviously, with Zoom and the modern technology, it has changed a bit, but it doesn't seem to change that much. So the core drivers are, just quickly, common interest, and we share activities that we do together. So there are activities that we share with one another, mostly around the common interests that we have. We play golf together, we go running together, we cycle, we go to gym together, we go watch the rugby, the cricket, the soccer, the tennis, blah, 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 blah. And these are our friendship drivers. The third relationship that we live in is a business relationship. Now you will see we are now on the other side of the vertical line. To the left of the vertical line, the friendship and love relationships, these are to fulfill our social needs. Now we go into relationships that fulfill our functional needs. In other words, our needs to function properly as human beings and as people. Number 3 on our list is a business relationship. There are only two things in a business relationship that makes it work, or that doesn't make it work. The one is, it's an exchange of value. I want your car and you want my money. So I will give you my money and you'll give me the car. It's always an exchange of value. I want your watch, you want my money, so you give me the watch, I'll give you the money. Or let's look at a work relationship with an employer. Now it becomes a bit important to remember. You want my talents, my training, my knowledge as an employer, and my time. I'll give you my talents, my training, my knowledge, and my time, but in return, I want rewarded. I want to be rewarded financially, emotionally, blah, 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 all the rewards that are embedded in a working environment. So the first thing is, it's an exchange of value. The second part of a business relationship, guys and girls, is that both parties must feel that they are winning. It's got nothing to do with the facts. People buy watches, and I don't want to tell you what watches, but some of these collectors' watches, they might pay hundreds of thousands for it, irrespective, South African rands, pounds, or dollars, or Australian dollars. They can pay hundreds of thousands for it. Then they take the watch, they never wear the watch, they put it in the safe. But emotionally, they have made up their minds that I have bought this watch and it is a good deal. How they explain it is that's not important, but they feel that they are on the winning side. Now, if any of the two parties in a business relationship do not experience a sense of winning, the relationship is at risk. This is quite important. So there's an exchange of value. It's got to do with time, energy, talents, services. It could be tangible value products, whatever it is that I get. And in return, there is the return value, mostly in the form of money that is the reward or the payment for the value. And then, guys and girls, relationship number 4 is it's the relationships that we have in the interest of our own security. And this could be different levels of security. It could be obviously physical security, financial security. It could be residential security in terms of where I stay. I need a security guard, or I need a security company, or whatever it is that I have people to provide me with a sense of safety and security. And in this relationship, what I give is I normally pay in a way. There are different ways of paying, but what I get back is protection, security, and a sense of safety and to be in a secure situation. These are the 4 relationships, frames that we live in. Now, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, what we have is on the left, the friendship and the love relationships are social relationships. To the right, these are transactional or functional relationships. They are there to make me function properly as an individual, and it's a transactional, it's something that we have a transaction on the table. Now, if we look at a house or a home, our homes and the place where we live in a home is the place where we engage in love and friendship relationships. This is the home relationship space. This is a space where we love each other, we share interests with our friends, we accommodate friends, we have discussions, we spend social time together, we enjoy, we laugh, it's a social and relationships for our emotional and psychological fulfillment, primarily. I'm not friends with somebody. Well, I can be friends with somebody because somebody has got money, but that's not a healthy way of seeing it. I can be friends with somebody because I have a hidden agenda of some sort, and then sort of create a friendship artificial, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a true friendship with somebody that I enjoy spending time and activities with, and we have a level of common interests. Whilst on the other side, guys and girls, is a business with a place where I work. and where I transact sits on the other side of the relationship divide. It sits on the transactional side of the relationship divide. Now, what I want you to keep in mind, guys and girls, is we mustn't mix these relationships up. We must be very careful. If you want to damage a friendship relationship, go and sell your car to a friend. Then you have no car and no friend if things go south and sour. Don't fall in love with somebody at the business. It's going to destroy the business relationship as well as the love relationship is at risk. So we must try and keep these relationships as clean as possible. And when I do coaching with people, and you must keep in mind that if somebody is in trouble, ladies and gentlemen, you can almost take a guess that at the root of the troubles that they experience, somewhere there's a relationship challenge. It's not always, but in the majority of instances, relationships are very troublesome. So I've decided to develop this model to help people understand how to better manage their relationships. Now, if we get these relationships mixed up, we are in trouble. But some relationships are by nature a mixture of the four or three of the four. For instance, marriage. Marriage is a mixture of a love relationship with a component of friendship, and there's a bit of business also in a marriage relationship, but it always threatens the love and the friendship relationship because it's a transactional relationship and it's not a free and a caring and an enjoyment relationship. So there are very good frames of psychology around these relationships, so we mustn't mix them up. But now, what we have done now is we've taken the business relationship and the business environment. So the business relationship that is also very deeply embedded in my security, financial security, etc., etc. We've taken those two relationships and we have suddenly overnight, in the Shadow Maps case, let's say the Thursday we were working from the office and the Friday we were working from home. So it suddenly happened that we have moved the entire work experience into the home of an individual, into the house and household of an individual. And with that, we have carried a lot of the transactional relationship content into the space where friendship and love is, where these relationships actually are the core markings of the space. So suddenly what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a very difficult situation with a mother, for instance, with a child 4, 5, 6 years old. The mother is in a meeting where she really needs to stand her ground in a business meeting where she really has to stand up and deal with a potential hostile situation or a very tough negotiations or whatever it is. And then in 10 seconds, relate to a child that is in a love relationship. It takes time to switch. And this is why traveling to and from home, the traveling time is such an important part of our well-being during the day, because we are allowed to take the time and slowly over a period of 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, shift from a working business, security, transactional environment into a friendship, loving, caring environment. Now, suddenly, it doesn't work that way. Suddenly, husband and wife is at home and they are in a business situation and they are in business meetings. And the next moment, the mother of the children or the child or my wife, husband, whatever the relationship is, needs my attention. And the biggest danger is we don't have the switch over time. We don't have the time to switch over from the transactional environment of relationships into the social environment of relationships. So this is where we start to develop a level of discomfort and a level of stress that makes it very critical for us to understand the challenges. If we summarize this, guys and girls, is the living space, our house, home, and that living space is a soft place, whilst the transactional space on the right is a hard place. And now we have this into one space, and this makes it extremely difficult. Now, what I've said previously, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to go back. We must not mix these relationships up. Because when we mix them up, when I'm in love with my wife to the left corner, and suddenly I need my wife for my financial security because I'm out of a job, the relationship is under threat because it shifted from a love relationship to a security relationship. Or if I have friends and I start to transact with my friends, and this is why business with friends is such a dangerous thing. And now suddenly we have a situation where these hard relationships have moved into our soft spaces. And it's difficult. Remember, let's say, for instance, a mother has got a child of 5 years old, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14. And she's in a hard mindset of the work. And then the child walks into the workspace in the home and asks a question or has a request that actually needs a very soft, a kind, and a loving, supportive answer. And now the mother is still in, let's call it fight mode or in hostile mode because she comes out of a very tough and a hard meeting. And now the things become very stressful. And this is why the first thing that we must do as employers is we must help our people, our colleagues, to understand that we need to keep the relationships separate from one another. And we need to allow ourselves time from a working engagement or work mode to move to a home and a house and a family, love, friendship, caring mode. And there are some simple ways of doing this. Say, for instance, you've got a structured working day from home. Structure your day so that work ends at 4 o'clock or at 5 o'clock or whatever, but work must end. Then go for a walk. Take your kids, take your dogs, take your husband and children, walk for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Do something with your family that helps you to switch your mind from a hard environment and a tough relationship environment, a transactional environment, to a mindset of the soft, caring, loving, and supportive environment of a love relationship and friendship. So this is important. Try to keep them separate and help your colleagues to structure their working days in such a way that they will be able to keep this separate. Now, it seems, ladies and gentlemen, that I will have to write an additional part to the book, the micro book that I just published, of which you obviously have a copy. And I've had a few requests from people saying, but what about advice to the individual? I've started to write the advice to the individual. And one of the key advisory points is that we must end our working day. And we must have a starting point for our working day. This thing that I wake up in the morning, swing my legs off the bed, sit on the side of the bed, start answering email via my cell phone at 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 6:30 in the morning, and then go to bed in the evenings and sit on the side of the bed and still answer emails because my working day didn't end. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. We mustn't do that. And we must be very disciplined to not do this, because this brings it pushes the one relationship frame into the other in a non-healthy manner, and it's not good for the individual, the society around that individual, being the family, the marriage, whatever it might be, the kids, and it eventually it can bite you. But then, guys and girls, I would like to share a few ideas with you on the psychology of work. We will have two parts in this. And the first part is, I just want to go through a few points. We've discussed the fact that it's a transactional environment. So in our minds, we work with transactional relationships, a give and take, a give on condition that I will receive. I give because I get paid. I give because there's something in it for me. On the love and friendship relationship, I don't do it. I don't give because there's something in it for me. Then it's not love anymore, then it's business. It's not friendship, it's business. Irrespective if it's emotional transactions. If it's a transactional basis, it's a business relationship. The second part of the psychology of work, guys and girls, is it's a self-worth platform. It's the space where I experience my value as a productive and a value-adding person. In other words, I experience a high level of self-worth as a result of the fact that I have successfully landed a project, or I have successfully pulled off a great contract, or I did some thinking around my programming and software development, and after a day I've cracked it and I've showed it to my colleagues, and I get acknowledgement for this. There's a sense of self-value embedded in the working environment. This is important, ladies and gentlemen, because when we work from home, this could be lost, because people do not hang around the door and say, Joey, well done. I'm very proud of you for what you've done yesterday. Well done. It's a good one. We don't do, because we don't have a door where we can hang around and talk to Joey for 3 minutes. So the self-worth platform of the individual is under threat, and they do not get the acknowledgement that is necessary for them to build this platform of a worthy, self-worthy individual. It's a performance platform, ladies and gentlemen. We all need success breeds success. Failure is the biggest threat to the well-being of the psychology of an individual. I've done a lot of work on this. Failure, we cannot afford, as humans, we just cannot afford failures. So this is a performance platform. This is quite important because it's a place where I can display my capabilities. I can display my skills. I can display my knowledge. So it's the workplace is sort of a window dressing opportunity for the individual to show his or her worth and to display their performances, their success, and what they have achieved. Now it's gone, or it's minimized to one meeting sometime when I have to push myself into the meeting to tell somebody what I've done. And it's such a great job. So as employers and managers and team leaders, guys and girls, it is absolutely critical to ask people, what have you achieved? And it's not that I want to check on them. I want to acknowledge what they have done. What have you achieved during the last week? What have you achieved this week in terms of your working goals? Because that is the way that we give the opportunity to the individual to voice their achievements without the need to push their achievements onto the table. And this is quite an important a role for leaders to play in this situation. Even the most senior leaders in a business, ladies and gentlemen, must join the junior meetings and ask, guys, what have you achieved during the week? What have you achieved this month? I'm proud of you. Thank you for doing this. Because if we, in a work from home situation, we don't have this platform. Then number 4 on this list, guys and girls, is it's an ego development opportunity and process. Ego, the ego of an individual is to a large extent being understood, and there are different definitions around this, but it's more or less the position of self-worth, the position of strength, the feeling and the psychological point of self-confidence, that I feel confident within myself, that I feel I'm strong, I can deal with the challenges in life. And a strong ego, ladies and gentlemen, you don't wake up one morning with a strong ego. It's not true. A strong ego is something that's been built over many years. Unfortunately, some of us grew up in houses where parents destroyed the development of a strong ego by being overcritical. And then sometimes we end up in a working place where we have a boss or a team leader or a CEO or a business owner that keeps on destroying the ego strength of individuals, and eventually the self-confidence and blah, 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 all these things then take a knock. Now the opportunity for somebody to build a strong ego in a workplace that is healthy, and in doing so develop a strong well-being, is not there. Now I'm isolated, I'm alone, I do wonderful things and I can't share it with anybody. I can't run around the corner to my colleagues and say to them, I've cracked the algorithm to determine what the investment outcome will be over 13 years if you invest in this stock exchange fund. I can't do it. I'm unable because they're not there. Where are they? I can't now phone them and set up a meeting and then tell them how proud I am of cracking this thing. So the ego building platform has been taken away from us. And if I'm in my house and in my home where I have to work. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the most important aspects of the psychology of work, and that is our work, our jobs, our careers gives us an identity. To give you an idea, if you walk somewhere in a public space, in a shopping mall or some place, and there somebody walks around with a stethoscope around their necks and a white jacket, you would say, this is probably a medical doctor. Or if somebody dressed up like a pilot, you'd immediately say, this is a pilot. I wonder, who does he fly for? Or he's dressed up like a nurse. It's the work we do is part of our identity. Just an interesting thing, if we meet some strangers, obviously before we ask them their names and so on, we see that their gender, we see their clothes, so we do a visual assessment of an identity of the person. It's male or female, it's dressed, high income dress, watch, expensive watch, blah, 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 blah. And then we can even go as far as, if they are dressed in a certain way, guess their religion, guess their culture, their language, and then we say, okay, my name is Peter de Villiers, and then the person would say, okay, I'm Ian Foster. And then the first question that we ask normally is, Ian, so where are you from? I want to know your living space. Where do you live? So the place where I live my life is very highly ranked on my identity. The next question, what do you do for a living? So it sits extremely high on our identity tags. That identity framework, ladies and gentlemen, has got to do with pride, with power, with success, and with reward. And now suddenly, there's no public space in the workplace, or no workplace-related space where I can build this identity. And suddenly people experience that in a work-from-home situation, they just are nothing. This is very dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. This is extremely dangerous, because the platform and the space where their identity is being formed and built is now not, it's not there. And we build this identity in the workplace amongst our colleagues, customers, associates, business associates, etc., etc., etc. Now suddenly that identity framework is very thin, and individuals experience themselves to be reduced just to a number or just a production entity. This is dangerous. What we must do as business leaders, ladies and gentlemen, we must bring to the public space the successes of our people. We must post and bring to the public space what our people have achieved, either on the website or on LinkedIn or on Facebook or whatever it might be. But take it into the space of the business so that everybody in the business knows about the achievements of an individual or a team or a development team or a sales team or whatever it might be. But also try to push this out to your clients so that the individuals can still have a platform where they can experience the building process of a strong identity, ego, and a performance framework that is in place. Now, guys and girls, this is a very well-known picture. And I've decided to take this one because of time, and I don't want to explain the more complicated ones that are not so well known as Mr. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. This is, I was so shocked one day when I learned this thing, my second year university, guys and girls, and the other day I saw somebody in high school, grade 8, with this picture in a textbook. And I said, did you learn this in school? Yes. I said, really? I was absolutely shocked to learn that what I have learned second year varsity university is now being taught to kids in grade 8 and 10. But be it as it may. This is the triangle or the hierarchy of needs, where we have at the bottom our physiological needs, in other words, safety and food and water and all the basic stuffs that we need to live. And then we need safety, we need to be secure. Then we need a sense of belonging. Then we start to build esteem, self-esteem, and to be more than just a breathing piece of meat. And then self-actualization, where we develop the need to do something for the world and to do something that is more than just earning a salary and making a living. So it's a high level of achievement that we have once, obviously, the building blocks are in place. Now, guys and girls, the purpose of a successful and a career and a workplace sits like this. The majority of our self-actualization needs are fulfilled in a career, in a workplace, and in a workspace. This is where we grow to become more than just somebody that fixes leaking roofs, or where we become more than somebody that just fixes the roads, irrespective of how important the job is. But on a self-actualization, the top of the triangle of the Maslow hierarchy of need is where we become more than just a production or an income-generating individual. This sits predominantly in our careers and in our workplace and workspaces, where we work towards doing more for business than just earning a salary, contributing to people, to the lives of people, etc., etc. Whilst in a career path, the safety, belonging, and physiological needs at the bottom becomes less important as I grow towards the higher levels of this hierarchy of needs. But in my house, in my home, in my living space with my loved ones, with my friends, with my family, the triangle is reduced slightly, where this gives me a sense of physical safety and fulfillment. This is where I eat. This is where I prepare food. This is where I have water. This is where my physical needs are being fulfilled to a large extent. This is where my sense of safety is being built, and security, emotional, that I'm being loved, that I'm being cared for, that I'm in a safe place emotionally, socially, and also physically. This is where we build a high sense of belonging and bonding with people, more than just hello and goodbye, and good morning and good night, where we build a sense of belonging, where I can say that I have a sense of belonging to these people that live with me in my house. It's also a place where, especially for children, they build a level of esteem and worth. And there is self-actualization in this, but it's not as intense as with the careers, where we really move towards self-actualization over and above just the working environment. This is how these two triangles should sit on the Maslow hierarchy of needs. In other words, guys and girls, we need them to be separate. The belonging here and the belonging in the workplace is not the same. The esteem that I have here and the esteem here is not the same. There must be a divide between these two self-fulfilling and needs fulfillment that we have and that we experience. Suddenly what we've done, ladies and gentlemen, is this is what happened. So now my hierarchy of needs that belongs to a workplace expression of myself and my worthiness and my growth suddenly has penetrated my home. And now we sit with a mix-up. And this mix-up, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the things that we must be very careful of. I just want to share with you one 1-minute story. I worked with a family many years ago. I was a minister of religion in the Dutch Reformed Church for 12 years. And during that time, I worked with a family, and the father was on this level. He was in the military. So he served the military of the country, and he was quite high up on the military there. And he was a very strict military type individual. And what happened is he started to talk to his family, to these people in his home, with this language. So his wife said to me, he doesn't ask us to do something, he commands us. He doesn't say thank you, he shouts. She used the word, he's got a barking approach towards me and the children. What happened was this individual got mixed up between the role of fulfillment in the workplace and the fulfillment that I have on the same hierarchy of needs, but in a different way, in a different space, in a different place, with different people, different language, different content, different engagement. He got this mixed up. Eventually, it was a disaster. I couldn't deal with it. It went the route of a divorce. And later on in my life, guys and girls, I ran into a lot of these examples. Suddenly now, the work from home make this very possible and very easy to happen. So again, what we must do is we must keep the workplace space, content, relationships, and methods and language out of the family, loving, caring, friendships, sharing, supporting psychology and environment. And the moment these things get mixed up, we run the risk that both my relationships in a transactional environment, and you will now remember what I mean with that, the workplace environment, and my language, my ways, my methods in the social, the loving and friendship environment, it get mixed up, and then we run into serious difficulties with our relationship at work and in our living spaces and our homes. Now let's have a look at the psychology of a home, ladies and gentlemen. And in a home where we have, obviously, it's the social environment. It's a soft and a safe place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that we must understand is that a loving relationship and a friendship relationship is soft, and it provides both parties with a sense of safety, not with hostility and with somebody that opposes me. That's business transactional security, and on the other side of the vertical line of our 4 frames. The home is a caring and a soft place. It's not a hard place. It's where I relax, recharge, and rest. Now just play for 10 seconds the video of the opposite of this, because that's the workplace and the transactional place. It's not a place where I relax. I sit upright and I engage. It's not a place where I sit back, put my arms behind my head, relax, have nice coffee, play nice music, watch TV, or whatever it is that I do to relax. It's a place where I sit upright, I sit up straight, I look people in the eye, and it's a place where I could tense up. It's not a place, the home is a place where I relax. In other words, I unwind. The workplace is a place where I upwind. It's a place at home where I rest. This is embedded in our psychology, guys and girls. Suddenly now, this place must become the place where I upwind, I stress, engage, transact. I don't rest. I produce. I run. I must be there. Suddenly it moved into my space where I relax, recharge, and rest. The home is an accommodating place of being together. This is the big thing of a house. It's a place where we accommodate each other. It's a place where we care for each other. It's a place where we are together in a soft, caring, and a kind manner. It's not a place where we are opposition to each other. It's not a place where we are hostile towards each other. That's not a home. A home, it's an accommodating and a place of cohesiveness and strong bonding relationships. A home, ladies and gentlemen, is a place of freedom and entertainment. We laugh, we play, we build puzzles, we play cards, we watch TV, we listen to the music, we do a bit of exercise, we go walk together. It's a place of freedom. There's a high level of freedom that is allowed in our homes and in our living spaces. And if it's not there, then you must bring it into the home, because that is where this is why we have a home. It's because we have the freedom there. And it's a place where we can laugh and where we can enjoy with almost without limits the presence of each other in an entertaining way. Then last on this list, ladies and gentlemen, probably again the most important one. My home is not a performance place. It is a caring place. It is not a place, a space of performance. It's a space of caring and support. And now we brought into this environment from the top down, a hard and sometimes a threatening place instead of a soft and a safe space. A stressed and not a rest, but a produce, not a recharge, but upcharge place. It's not an accommodating, sometimes a hostile space in the working environment. A place where there's no freedom. We need to produce, be at our desks and produce and deliver. It's not there for the entertainment. It's there for production and. It's not a caring space. It's a performance space. Now we brought all these things into our houses, into our families, and into the relationships that we have at home. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a boiling place for an explosion. And we must be very careful. We must be very mature as employers, managers, team leaders, and colleagues to help each other not to run off the rails because of this mix-up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a classic situation in the workplace of the classic situation of dependency. The employer, the business, cannot prosper without the employee, the people. The employee cannot prosper without the employer and the business. The picture that I've selected is very telling. The ladder cannot paint the ceiling without the painter. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way that the ladder can paint the ceiling without the painter. And on the other side, ladies and gentlemen, there's no way that the painter can paint the ceiling without the ladder, or without at least the equipment. But the one needs the other for the success of both. Now, this is a classic situation. The question is, what now? Workplace success defines the business and the person. It's not the one or the other. It is both. Workplace success defines the business and the person. Take the book that I wrote. Discuss it with your people. Do it, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a team leader, discuss it with your team. If you're a manager, discuss it with your teams individually. If you are the CEO of a business, do it. We've started with this in the Shadow Match team. You cannot believe how meaningful and fulfilling it is for the team to discuss the components. We've just started with this because I just finished the book. The ink is not as yet dry. But take the book and discuss the content in an open, transparent way with your people. It demonstrates the positive interest that you have in their well-being. I recommend guys and girls to do a survey with 3 to maximum 5 questions that can provide an almost perfect picture of the challenges people experience. The Shadow Match team, obviously, they are highly qualified in these intelligent questions and asking these questions, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? With 3, 4, maximum 5 questions that you send out to all your people in a company, you can actually get an exact profile of who battles, what they battle with, how they fight their battles, who are comfortable, who likes it, and who actually thrive in this situation. And then we have incredible data, ladies and gentlemen. Then we know exactly where the areas are in our workforce that we can address. This will show that some employees thrive and some don't. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, I was about to write down some thrive and some dive, because some employees take serious strain. I've got the emails, I've got the discussions, I've engaged with people. People come to me and they say to me, Peter, you need to help me. I can't deal with this. I cannot deal with it. And I work with this. It's my life. This is my life, ladies and gentlemen. I've given my life to try and understand the habits of people. And if you don't have the data, if you don't have the facts, you work in the dark. And some employers, their employees end up with me. They shouldn't end up with me. Obviously, I'm more than willing to help, but the employer should have dealt with this pre-event. In other words, deal with it before it happens. Take proactive steps. And this is one of the very powerful proactive steps that you can take. And guys and girls, these 3 to 5 questions, if they are cleverly put together, you can get all the information that you need to help your people in a very tangible and a sustainable manner. Then what we need to do, guys and girls, is we need to do a behavioral analysis and help support, develop, and mentor. This is exactly why I have built Shadow Match. It boils down to the exact point of my obsession. And that is to do a behavioral analysis of a company's employees to determine exactly who are the top performers, what do they do, what are their habits, how do they engage the workplace, and then to help those people that cannot perform at that level, that are stressed or they just underperform, and to recruit obviously the people that are similar to the top performers. So with this, we have a repository of information that could really help to develop and mentor. And I've built a system for this, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I'm obsessed with this, of helping people to be successful. The most critical thing to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to define who is the boss in the business. This is my last statement, but this is absolutely the most healthy way of running a business is that the boss is not a person. The boss is the company. We are there to serve the interest of the business, not the CEO, the chairman, the MD, the manager, or the head of a department. We are there to serve the business. And if I am the most junior person in the ranks of the business and the CEO does something that is not in the interest of the business, I must have the authority to challenge and to say, Mr. CEO, I'm sorry to say this, but what you now propose is not in the interest of the business because I'm here to serve the business. This is the most critical thing that we must do, ladies and gentlemen. We must define who's the boss. The CEO is there to serve the interest of the business, whether he likes it or not. The chairman of the board is there to serve the interest of the business. And that is applicable to everybody in the business. The moment people understand that my work is in the interest of the business, I serve a system, I serve a company, I serve a product, then we change our position because then we are all servants of the same entity, namely the business, the product, or the service that we provide. Now, ladies and gentlemen, with that, thank you very much. I'm a bit early. No, I'm just on time. Just a few important comments. Important information. You can contact me, coaching@shadowmatch.com. That's my public email address. If you want to send me an email with a question, you are more than welcome. You can download the book that I referred to that explains the relationship frames that we started with our discussion. Remember the 4 relationships: love, friendship, business, and security. You can download the book for free on www.shadowmatch.com. Go to resources. Under Shadow Match, go to the free downloads. There are 2 books. The one, Shadow Match Success for All, page 40 to 60, will deal in detail with the 4 relationship frames. It's a very nice read. You can download it for free. It's a gift. Obviously, it was a gift before the webinar as well, ladies and gentlemen. And then on a date that will be announced, I will take 20 people, 20 seats only. I just don't have enough brains, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me for saying this. I'm just honest. I don't have enough brains to handle questions of more than 20 people around the table. I run out of disk space. It will be a free 1-hour consultation session. Now, what will happen is you'll get the link via email. If you want a seat to discuss this challenge of working from home, the relationship, blah, 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 blah. You want to discuss it with me, you can book the seat. I will spend an hour of our time together with you, and I will do my best to handle your questions in the best way that I can. With that, I think it's back to either Suzanne or to Lizette. Who takes over?
Thanks, Peter. I was just commenting in the chat. Thank you very much. We had a lot of positive comments in the chat. I see Sharon says she needs to run to a meeting. Sharon, good luck for your meeting and thanks for joining. Good to see you. Peter, a lot of positive comments. I just want to comment to everyone. I did also post in the chat. We will be sending the recording and we will also be sending the work from home ebook again with the recording. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't booked through the link for the webinar and you've received the invite from a friend, then I probably don't have your email address. So if you want us to have your email address on our list of subscribers, just make sure that you actually click on that link that we've sent you where you could book the webinar, and then also book on the button, click on the button in your email. That ensures that we get your email so that we can communicate with you after the webinar. Please feel free to share the webinar recording with friends and family. That's why we do send you the recording. I know not everybody can attend, and some people also in the chat said that they had to run a bit early. You're welcome to share that recording with friends and family. That is the purpose of it. We want everybody to get the value and not just the people that could actually attend this hour. So from me, Peter, there's no specific questions that anybody posted in the chat. I don't know if anybody has got a question. You're welcome. You can unmute yourself now. And then you are welcome to ask the question. We're available for a couple of minutes still. Those of you that want to run, you're welcome. The formal webinar is over. If you want to stay and listen to the questions and the answers, you're also very welcome. So you can maybe just unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, you can pop it in the chat and then I will present the question. Just thank you. Thank you for sharing. Great session. Thank you. Much appreciated. Somebody from Mauritius. Great to see people from other parts of the world. It's fantastic. Nice to see you. I see the face smiling. That's great.
Yeah. Thanks, Lizette. I think what we can do is to say that if people watch the video again and they have questions, they want to be part of the discussion of 20 seats, just watch your emails and book quickly, and we will then facilitate that. But thank you very much. Thanks to Suzanne. Suzanne is our GM. Lizette is my wife. She's head of our social media marketing and part of the research team. Thank you to those two. And you will see the other Shadow Match team members also on the screen, but I'm not going to mention all the names. Thank you very much. It was nice to spend the afternoon with you. Thanks.
Great, everyone. Have a good afternoon, a good day, and a good evening wherever you are situated. Go well. Bye-bye.